Hello and welcome to Tuesday Night Edits. Hopefully you can see and hear me. We'll just wait for a little bit of confirmation before we get too far in. Excuse me. So even though this is Tuesday Night Edits, but it's actually Thursday, and I've had 2 extra days to prepare, I just realised whilst I was making my cup of tea that I haven't written anything out. I've got no organisational list to work through tonight, so it could be a bit of a random one again. So anyways, this is episode 29 and I am Andy Gray and I do ICM and abstract type of photography, and yeah, that's what I do. What we do here on Tuesday Night Edits is, even though it's Thursday, what we do is generally I'll talk crap for a little while and then we'll edit some imagery. And today's imagery will be from South Gare, which is on Teeside here in the UK. It's an industrial landscape, so not my thing. And just to make it even more awkward, I actually did it with a new camera, because I have a new camera. So I have this little jobby now, the Canon M50. Finally, if you're a long time watcher, then you will know that I've been rabbiting on about this camera for many months. My desire to get it to help me with video more, so I can do more vlog type videos and basically better quality videos, and maybe less studio type of stuff. So I finally earned enough money and went out and bought it. So I am now the proud owner of a Canon, and that's for the, this is first Canon I've ever owned, I think, unless one of my very early horrible compact things was a Canon. Did Canon make compact cameras back in the 80s? Who knows? So anyways, the Canon M50. So this is primarily for video, but I'm also giving it a damn good test run with photography, because it is a camera after all, with the desire that if this is good enough and produces good enough results, then my good old Nikon D700 will be relegated down the list of equipment. So there are, I was going to say issues with this, not really issues, just things to work on, but I will put those into another video which will be coming up once I've had time to record it, just with some initial thoughts on it. But for the minute, I'm impressed with its little self, because I mean it's basically an entry-level mirrorless camera. Obviously I don't need anything high res, high spec for the type of photography I do, and so basically 600 quid is in my budget. 3.5 grand for a Nikon D850 is nowhere near my budget, so I went for this primarily for video, like I say, but I'm gonna test it fully photographically. So I am going to use this exclusively, unless I get some commercial work. I'm going to use this exclusively for the next month, and I will report back in a lengthier video. But I do have some initial thoughts which I will put into a video probably over the weekend for release sometime next week. Weight difference is very significant compared to my D700, which even that isn't the biggest of cameras. But one weird thing I have noticed, I don't want to give away too many of my things, otherwise they'll not come back and watch my video about this, is that it's this will only apply to about 5 photographers in the entire world. But it's the one of the big changes is its centre of gravity. With it being a much smaller video and a much more shorter camera as well. Obviously This is the 15 to 45 kit lens, so effectively I think it's 24 to 72 ish in 35mm terms, because it's so small and the body's so small. The centre of gravity when you're waggling it around is significantly different to my existing setup, so that's taken some getting used to. So yes, that's one of my initial thoughts, but the rest will be coming in a video. Evening, David. I was here on Tuesday, but I'd wait a couple of days. Yes. Yeah, you've been sitting here waiting ever since, David. You were dedicated. Just to look at my beautiful face. So, right. That was the M50. What else was going on? Because it feels like there's been a lot happen since my last live stream, which was only 9 days ago. But have I done more since then? I can't remember when I released it, but I released my video of me opening the my initial pack of prints from the film camera. I released that video recently. I can't remember if it was before or after last week's live stream. So do check that video out at the end of this stream, with these pack of prints, my live reactions to me opening them. Sorry, just reach into the camera there. So check that out if you haven't. So that's quite exciting. I'm halfway through my second roll already. I did take it away down with us at the weekend there. So yes, the weekend. For the last month, 6 weeks or so, I've been pushing the connected workshops that were run it this past weekend, and the little exhibition that Rob Knight was organising. So that was over on the weekend, and I was down there on Sunday, being a co-leader for Rob down at South Gare, which today's images are going to be generally based around there. You've developed yours, David. Good stuff. Looking forward to your live reactions on your video channel then. So yeah, I was down at South Gare on Sunday. Very pleasant morning with the attendees, all very keen, very happy, and good fun morning and afternoon. Conditions were pretty good. There was a beautiful light as I got there at about 8 o'clock, because I went down there early. We weren't meeting till 10, but I was there for just after 8. Beautiful light casting across the dunes over that industrial Middlesbrough landscape. That was beautiful. And a little bit of rain around about midday, and then just as everybody disappeared, the sun came out again for some more beautiful light. So we are going to have a look through the images that I made at that and try to cobble a few things together and push on with that. But the reason that Tuesday was cancelled or moved today was that I had the pleasure of being in the company of probably 3 of the most creative photographers, UK-based photographers out there. When you've got Paul Kenny on one side of you and Valda Bailey on the other side of you as you're having dinner, that's pretty special. And also Doug Chinnery was there as well, who basically laid the foundation for me doing what I do, because it was his video that he made for On Landscape all those years ago. I think it was if you search it out, I think it's 5 or 6 years ago. Well, it must be more than 5 years ago, because I've been shooting ICM for 5 years. But it was his, watching his video initially that got me thinking about the movements and how to do it right and this kind of thing. So having him there, having Valda there, and of course Paul, who was just out of this world fantastic, getting to spend the evening with them was just brilliant. And the one regret I do have, well, I've got a couple of regrets. One, I forgot to take Valda's book to get her to sign it, and then the other thing is, I forgot what my other reason was. Oh yes, well the other thing I regret was not taking my camera and the microphone, doing all this, and recording some bloody content for the channel, because having Paul there, having Valda there, having Doug there, that would have made a bloody good video, I think, just shooting the breeze. So it was great to chat to them. It was a very pleasant evening. So that's why Tuesday Night Edits was cancelled and moved to Thursday. Evening, Stephen. Rob. Focal length for my ICM work, I tend to go around about 24mm on the 35mm equivalent. This little beastie is 15 to 45, so 15 on crop sensor is a damn good place to start. I will go wider on my Nikon, like 16mm on that. You know, but generally, best results I've had is roughly probably 24. But if you watch the video I posted yesterday, you will know I mentioned in there that when I approach my ICM work, then I do generally stick to looking for a traditional landscape composition. So whatever zoom level is required to make that composition, then that's what I'll kind of stick to. So hopefully that helps you, Rob. Hopefully that answers your question. So any other things that I need to mention? Yes, you do need to kick up the arse, David. Get your YouTube channel back on point. Need to see your face on video again. So yeah, get on it. Right. Can't think if I've got anything else to say on the bullshit scale. Congratulations to Greg Whitten, by the way, for reaching 1,000 subscribers. Hats off to you, sir. Well done. Hopefully I won't be that far behind you. But well done, Greg. Keep up the good work. Tremendous vlogs. Tremendous little quick shots as well that you do on a Monday. Brilliant. Keep it going, sir. Right. Pictures. Video. That's what we've already been doing. Right then, if you don't know about South Gare, it is pretty much right on the mouth of the Tees, kind of Middlesbrough, and then head further east. And Redcar's kind of down this to the south of this area, and this is the now closed down steelworks. That closed over 18 months ago, 2 years ago, something like that. Or maybe even 3 years ago. Forgotten when. That's all now defunct and closed down and cold. And this image here is your typical, I'm saying typical, I'll move to black and white so you can see better, is a bit of a classic shot that many have shot before. And quite a well-known batch of fishing huts that make a very nice foreground with the steelworks in the background. So if you're interested in South Gare, it's very much worth a look down there, and there is talk of compulsory purchase orders and development and all this kind of stuff. So if you want to see it all as it is now, get your arse down there quick, because you never know what's, it is private land. It's a private road that gets you in there, but I wouldn't delay too long if you do want to get down there to see it and photograph it, because access may well change going forward. So do basically get there sooner rather than later. So I did shoot because it was basically the first shots in anger with the Canon M50 on Sunday, so I had to open with some regular shots, and I did this black and white edit just to see how far things would push and pull. Results pretty good, damn good. You know, fairly sharp and all. Once you've tweaked the sharpness, there's plenty there. A little bit noisy, but you know, you can deal with that. But yeah, quite you know, impressed. And obviously I'm moving from Nikon D700, which is 4,200 something pixels on the long edge, to now 6,000 pixels on the long edge. So I'm seeing quite a significant jump in image size. The raw files are about 24 meg, whereas my Nikon ones were about 5. So happy days. New hard drives aplenty. Right. Yeah, I shot these through because I wasn't sure about the whole bracketing and the HDR thing, but we'll forget about that. We'll need to jump into the ICM stuff, won't we? Like I say, I will give my fuller initial thoughts on things in a future video. Alright, what we're going to do... I have edited a couple of images so far, and I haven't been that impressed with the results. As this one, to me, looks a bit like Tatooine and Jabba's Palace, if you're into your Star Wars. I saw you were down there, David. Yep. I saw you chasing them wheels. Must have been a post on Instagram or something. Well, yeah, this one kind of made me think of Jabba's Palace, Tatooine, Star Wars: A New Hope, or Return of the Jedi, or whatever, whichever one it was. So not really an industrial landscape. So but they were like initial edits. There's a lot of playing yet to do. I was very much struggling with controlling the camera because it's new, ergonomically different, and it's much smaller in the hand as well. So lots of problems, lots of things to deal with. So I'm gonna look to have another go at processing some of these industrial shots with just the, you know, the outline of the old steelwork ruins on the horizon. So I'm just gonna pick some of these. Actually, any of these could go, couldn't they? Right, let's just do them all. Let's that one right through. So same process as what I you know, what I usually do, clean the image up. Thankfully, no dust spots to deal with yet, because I haven't taken the lens off yet, because I've only got one lens for it. So hopefully the sensor will be clean for a long time to come. But lens corrections, just to lighten things up. I'm actually going to lighten the image quite a bit. Drop the highlights of the sky down there. One of the problems we did have when we were shooting was that the steelworks were backlit. So even though it was a bit cloudy at times, generally the light behind them was pretty strong, so there's that to deal with. One thing I am finding is that with it being a crop sensor, it's pretty noisy in here, and all these were shot at ISO 100. So there's quite a bit of noise in these areas, which you may or may not be able to see on the screen. But I have already found that when I'm layering stuff together, you know, when I've like done one edit and then decide to throw it back into Analog Effects Pro for that second go, it is extremely blotchy. So that's maybe something I need to adjust in my workflow, is maybe once I've done one run through on Analog Effects Pro, is actually do a noise reduction action on that layer, just to keep that blotchiness and ISO noise to a minimum. But that's, you know, I'm just going to have to deal with that as and when it crops up. Right, I think we need to do something major with the colour here, and nothing too, that's about there. Bit of contrast, bit of black, and we're looking to retain some of this grass detail in the front, just to see how it goes. That's probably okay. Detail, that's what I was on about. See, noise reduction. Usually I've been using, you know, 45 kind of on here, but I am pushing it to 60 just because there's that added noise. If you look at sensor stats, the, you know, like dots per pixels per receptor and things like that on a sensor. The D700, you know, there's like very few per receptor. I don't know if this terminology is right, but obviously with this being a crop sensor and the megapixels being much bigger, there's a hell of a lot crammed in, so that's why it's a bit more noisy. But you know, we can deal with that kind of stuff. So just that, add a little bit of sharpening, not much, but not much. Bit of that cast seems to be okay. That'll do. Alright, just sync all these across. Probably not all of them. I don't think we'll use them all, but let's go for that one. That one. Oh, we'll go for them. 6. Let's try 6. Edit in. Open layers in Photoshop. That'll open them all together in the one batch. And obviously with it being a new camera, bigger megapixels, loading them in will take a little bit longer than normal. Something else I'm having to get used to. I haven't even got any adverts to put up this tonight because I've got nothing coming up. I could show you this. If you haven't seen it already, if I can load it up fast enough. Where you gone? I'll put that up there and get rid of my face. That is my first ordinary, my usual style of ICM image that I've made using the Canon M50. So even with its, you know, the changes, you know, the operation of the camera is, you know, quite different. I am still managing to make images just as I have done for you know, the past few years. So I'm quite happy with how things are going so far. It is maybe a little bit harder to get, you know, like nice movement in it, but that's just going to come with time. Right, just lump these together to see how they come out. See, one layer's very, very high in the image. Probably be that first one. No, we're not going to lose anything like that. Oh, we could do something with that though, couldn't we? Maybe later. Right, and I can take that layer out. I'm just going to realign some of these layers. So I'm going to bring this one down, just basically so they're near enough. That layer's doing absolutely jack. Doing absolutely nothing, apart from a little bit down here. This layer, probably not doing much either. Very wishy-washy one. This layer, probably not much either. Another wishy-washy one. Well, I'll leave it there. It is kind of intersecting nicely there. And this one, I'm just going to bring this down. Add in that a little bit more sharper detail on there. And I'm going to take out that straight line, that hard edge there. So, sorry, itchy eye. So I'm going to take out this rigid line here. I'm going to do it using a mask. So made a mask layer there. A gradient mask. I'm just going to drop in a very short gradient, and bingo, it's gone. Very itchy eye, don't know why. So there's our base image kind of started. I think I would like a slightly different kind of color. Should we try blue? I think blue might be industrial. Think grey. So new layer. Let's lump on a colour, something like that. Maybe darker down here, down that kind of area. Paint bucket tool, fill that layer, and then use the hue. And there we are. We are starting with a blue image. Just going to dial that back a bit so it's not ridiculous. I wonder if I should paint out some of those areas, or just run with it like this to see what it goes like. We can always do something later on. Right, I'm going to drop in a curves layer just to add a bit more contrast to play with. Something like that. So what I've found out recently is that the better your base image, generally is better to, you know, if you class this point that we're at now, before we go into Analog Effects Pro, as a pretty decent image before we even start playing further, and something you'd be nearly happy with publishing now, then that's a good starting point. Or I found that recently it has been anyway. So this one might prove me wrong. So in Analog Effects Pro, and this will probably take another 20 minutes. Forgot what does that say? Oh yeah. Can't remember when I got this cup, but it was a while back. You can see it, I pretend to work, and then when you're drinking out of it, it says they pretend to pay me. I think I got that mug not long after I quit my last job. Right, let's have a look at presets. A lot of these won't change too much, just due to the positioning of everything in the scene. So obviously we've got, you know, the main point of this image is all in this area here. So when you're layering over the next one, it's going to do very little unless it's down here. So I'm really just looking for a good base colour, and then we can play around with some positioning later on. So I'm just looking at something colourful, or something grimy enough to something like that might be nice. Then again, it might not be. My eyes are deceiving me. The other thing I've noticed is that, there's a lot of detail retained. Obviously, I'll take that layer out. You've got all this grass in here, so there's all that detail retained, whereas with my Nikon, a lot of that just became like a smudged mess. So there's not much to, so it retains a lot more texture, I suppose. So you might find that my images going forward are a bit more textured, which may be no bad thing, to be honest. Lighten that a touch. Just soften this one quite a bit. So I'm doing all this before I'm even getting my positioning changed. Yeah, you might need. It might be to do with the new version being a bit more stable. I did see a post on Facebook the other day, David, that I think the DxO has released version 1.1, which I think it's just more things tweaked to make them work or keep them working. So it might be worth doing that. But that was the danger of the old Google version that was unsupported, is that it might just, like an operating system upgrade or a Photoshop upgrade, and the whole thing would break. So it might come down to quite a bit of that. That's maybe why it's having issues. Now, one thing I do have issues with, not technological, but artist-wise, is that generally I use ruined stone buildings and that have softer edges and a bit more random folly down, and I'll use trees and things on the landscape that are of a natural makeup. Obviously, this being an industrial landscape, so there are very strong edges. Everything's right. There's right angles and all kinds of stuff like that. So they're doing blending edges together of this double exposure. It obviously becomes an obvious. It's an obvious thing that you've turned it around or laid it over the top of. So it can be quite to me, it can be quite jarring. Like what I would never do is something like that. So it's even though those steelworks are effectively now ruins, they are modern ruins. But they've still, so they've still got those hard edges, and they aren't going to blend as nicely. So you're going to do things like this, where you take those harder items away. Maybe just bring back when they're just hinting at the edge of the screen, maybe. And then play around with the balance of the which of the double exposure, how much of it is shown, you know, how transparent is it. Use that as its maybe these are just being a bit simple, but then again sometimes simple's good. There's nothing wrong with things being straightforward. I'm just moving the slider on the exposure balance of the double exposure, just bringing that back into a point where I feel there's a bit of a balance. Maybe it's just abstracting the, you know, the original base image just enough so it's not too overbearing. Evening, Alan. Let's play with the lens vignette, see what that does. Make it the smallest. I'm actually liking the that being quite dark, because it's almost given the impression, you know, a very overcast and, you know, working sky. Because basically before these steelworks would have closed down, there would have been smoke and crap piling out of them. So you can see this area here, you know, could be made smoke. That's an interesting one. Yeah. See, generally I don't use that motion blur, but maybe it's just things I don't particularly like it abstracting that building too much, because that's quite a distinctive building. But maybe it's doing alright around the rest of it. It's leaving this grass, you know, untouched. So, you know, it is obviously kind of an industrial landscape that's kind of not reclaimed, but, you know, Mother Nature always takes back. I'm wondering if I can move that one over there to have a less effect. Shorten it. Yeah, that's obviously done quite a bit. I was going to say I would describe what I'm doing here. But basically, this motion blur section, I guess anything outside this ellipse is the feathered area, and then everything beyond this one is the part that's very much affected by the direction of the blur and how much. And the direction and how much is controlled by this arrow here, and how far that is pulled out. So anything out here should increase, as you can see there it does. I'm just going to pull that back a bit. That's why this area here is untouched within there. And then you got these random ones outside, all pointing in different directions, because that's the, you know, there's individual controls around that. And you can add in another point, so I could add in another one there. Just go across there, pull that across, and you can see that motion then changes that. Don't want to affect those more. So you can get some interesting effects, but I think again with a lot of these things, it's less is more. You know, yeah, you can start to bring in. I mean, I still want to put this across as an industrial landscape, but obviously that is the former steelworks site, because I could go and drop this in here, and that extends this landscape, you know, higher. At which point, excuse me, at which point, you know, this could start beginning to look like a church, a couple of important buildings in it, and it all of a sudden becomes a small medieval city, rather than you know what I am trying to make a representation of that industrial landscape. So I'm just going to pull that down there until it gets back to something a bit more recognizable. Maybe another one back. Off to the lakes, Alan. Hopefully, hope there's some yellow leaves still left for you when you get over there. I think they're dropping like leaves at the minute around here. Autumn's done before I had a chance to shoot it. Go. Right. Stop dicking around, I think. Yeah. Exposure. Right. Put this back into Photoshop and do some more alterations. Oh, there'll be plenty of mist. It's been quite a misty kind of time recently. Beautiful mist when I was on my way down to the Gare on Sunday. I nearly pulled over at one stage to take a shot. Decided against it. But yeah, even today, just driving into town, you could see mist hanging over the coast, like over Allenmouth Way. Looked very pretty from a distance. So lots of mist around at the minute, people. And I think it's going to get colder next. You know, after the round about the weekend into next week, getting quite a bit colder. So there could be more mists in those hips and hollers. Right, and I'm going to try to crush this down a bit more without losing the colour. Just want to make this a bit drearier. Just playing with the curves adjustment. Right, I think what I'm going to do, I'm just going to try to put in a little bit of brightness behind there. So, if I remember rightly, I'm just going to bring these layers together with the Control Shift Alt and E to make that layer. And I'm going to make that a smart layer, smart object even. Yeah, I think it could be misty anywhere at the minute, Alan. Just unfortunately those golden leaves didn't quite hang around long enough. Right, let's convert it to that. Filter and camera raw filter. Make it bigger. Fill my screen. Right, yeah, so I'm just wanting to kind of lighten this area in the back here. So I want a radial filter. Oh, they have got range masks in camera raw as well. Good. Good to know. And I need to invert that. It's inside. Bring this down here. Where's my feathered edge? Feather that a bit more. There. Range mask. Luminance. That doesn't give you that. I'm just going to reduce that to about there. So if you haven't played around with this before, highly recommend having a go. It's in Lightroom as well, obviously. So I'll just do it in here whilst we're in it. There. Smoothness just to, yeah, about there. That looks not too bad. So I'll just confirm that. So you should hopefully see the difference here once it loads. Has it done it, or is it screwed up somehow? Oh no, it's still waiting. I think it's crashed. Oh dear. Oh, it's crashed. No. Typical. Maybe I'm too bloody fast. It crashed the other day on something as well. And it wasn't even that intricate of an image either. Bagger. Right. Sorry, people are going to have to back out of this one. The whole bloody lot stopped. Hopefully the stream won't drop. But I'm just going to have to get out of this program somehow. Not responding. And now. Oh, bloody in there. Right. Now's the thing though, like how much of it has it retained from it in its memory. Moment of truth of how good Photoshop is. It might be because I need to upgrade to the 19 version, but I ain't singing Alan, that's for certain. Covering, fingers crossed. Well, it should have recovered everything apart from that last layer. I might have to stay away from smart objects. Yay, that's alright. Got us that far. So all it's lost is, tell you what, before we get too much further, I'm just going to bin all that data. So we just got that. Yes, it didn't retain my curves adjustment. So let's have a bit play just to make sure that's all tickety boo. It's screen when it does things like this. I can't even remember what I'd done to it now. I don't like that now. What did I do before? Anybody rewind the stream and tell us? It's been that actually. I'm sure I darkened it, didn't I? I made it darker. Darker, more oppressive. Dull that down. Yeah, pull that in. Just like that. Pull that in more. Not that far. And then, what the hell did I do? Add a bit more blue in there. Something like that. Going down a different path just about. No. Just thinking daft random thoughts. No. Ignore that a little bit. Right. So something like that. And then I'm going to back into Lightroom. Save that. Then I'm going to have to import that, aren't I? Okay. Don't you love it when a good plan comes together? Bloody technology. God, it's only 2 layers and it's still only on... No, it's saved now. Right, Lightroom. Because it won't be in there, I'll have to go in and import it. Library. Import. Talk amongst yourselves for a while. What bloody drive is it? That one. Photos. 18. November 11th? Yes, it was 11th. And hopefully there should be, once all these have gone. Come on. So slow. I'll pull that out of there. Bugger off, stop reading that. That must be it. I'll just import that. There we go, there he is. Got there in the end. Got the 3 stars so I can find it. Right. Develop into this mask thing again. Not as bright as that, just a little bit brighter, that's all. Range mask luminance, same as what it was in the camera roll, similar thing. Done something like that, just gives it a bit more prominence. I think I might actually do a radial filter, invert it, so it is, and then darken it, but I want to keep that light there, so I'm going to pull that down to darken the sky. Nice range mask. Luminance there. I thought that might help it. There we go. Something like so. Done. And I wouldn't say it's my most revolutionary of work, not by a long shot, but then again, it is an industrial landscape, and I don't do industrial landscapes. I do old landscapes, natural landscapes. So yeah, these detailed things on the horizons are never gonna work for me, to be honest. You know, these things, these modern lines and horizontally stuff, vertical things. So yeah, best of a bad job, to be honest, because looking at the other images that I've processed so far from here, you know, they're all pretty naff, all retaining quite a bit of detail. You know, there's nothing, well, I suppose it's an industrial landscape, so there's not going to be anything soft about them. So that's that. What I can do, just talk amongst yourselves, that's fine. I did make some images of this scene, which I quite liked. Just the hint of the boat there. And I think this would be more of a just a pure blend them together and see what happens, rather than blend them together and then push them into Analog Effects Pro and all that gubbins. I just really like the grasses, and then the old boat contrasting behind them. So I think we'll have a bit blend here. That one. They change, don't they? Just pick out the one that's going to work best. Right, for a laugh, let's try that one to that one. Alright, pick that one to work on, develop. Sharpen it a bit more because there is a bit more detail in the heat in this one. Correct the lenses. Putting the shadows out. Bit of contrast to work with these grasses. Let's do that touch. Highlights up a bit. Bit of clarity, just, you know, just a fraction. Could be a decent base image, right? And sync those across the four. We'll just do this one quickly, and then we're out of here. So that's the hour point up. That all synced across, and then we'll send these into Photoshop as layers. Just four. Oh, I should have shut that one down. shouldn't have done that. These bigger files are a pain. Shut that one down. Right. So let's see how these blend together. That out the way. There's some nice effects here, but maybe it's just a little bit of alignment. There's some, you know, like this area here is quite nice. Maybe it's on this one. Quite nice in there. Right. Let's do some alignment. Knock that one off, that one. So we want layers that are pretty similar. About there-ish. I'll use the multiply to layer this one over. We can just see the edge of the boat there. I'll stick that on top of where that should be, and then we can bring them back together again. So that's really nice in there. And it might be a case of using this the image as put together. We're using the light and blend mode for this area, and then from here upwards use the darken blend mode. There's the darken, if you can see there, some very nice area, very nice texture in there, or not much of it, not much detail there. But what we can do, we've got a light in there, take off that layer, we've got nice stuff up there and there now. So the other thing we could do, actually it's not going to do much, is it? Is just mask this layer out. Is a good thing. So drop that mask on there, and we're going to do a very soft gradient filter on there. Just masking that out. Maybe go a little bit higher this time to there. That just softens that area there. And yes, it is that layer. So this one, we've got multiply on. Done it the wrong way. Soft like that. Making an image. That one needs blended out. That layer could come out altogether, to be honest. So I'm quite happy with that, I think. So I could bring that layer north a bit for it to line up. Well, that's even nicer. I'm happy with that. And yet again, choose night edits. The first image was rubbish. Second one, done in 10 minutes, is a hell of a lot better. So I think that crop is fine. And I think all this needs is a bit of a curves adjustment, just to change things up a bit. Really nice in that area. See a few gulls or something in there that have moved. Maybe it's flown across. Just there. The airstreaks. Whatever power station or whatever that is over on the other side of the Tees. I think I'm going to do another curves adjustment layer, but it only affect this area here. So another curves adjustment layer. Just going to bring that down more. I don't want to go too far before we start making colours muddy. Oops. Steady, Andy. Something like that. And then again, masking. I want to invert that, so go there, invert it, and I'm going to get a soft brush. Is it soft? Hardness needs to be no, it needs to be 0 for soft. Make it a lot bigger, big soft brush, and just paint that contrast in. Nice and loose, nothing fancy. Just take it up to about that line, up there. Hopefully that's good enough. Good enough for me, anyway. Ooh, how far do I push this? Do I be cheeky and drop in another colour? Maybe I'm thinking trying to darken this area down, because we want the natural and the old to light up, be the shining light in amongst this industry. So another new layer, bring that down, bring that down to there, and we are going to mask this out, and this is going to be our boundary. Set a gradient there. It's the wrong way around as usual. Something like that, but maybe it's not as apparent. Something like that. Yeah, good. Not. Quite like that. That might even work as a. Put that back on. Might work as a square crop. You just get the hint of the harbory bit going out there. I like that. Not a sign of Analog Effects Pro anywhere. So before we go any further, I'm going to save that back into Lightroom. Done. He cracks his knuckles. God, I've had the news on for 2 days now. Kind of depressing. All this Brexit stuff. I can't get any work done for watching it. Terrible. Come on, 40-odd%. It's obviously one of the downsides of the new camera. Files are bigger, save times are a hell of a lot longer. Video files are bigger now. Go, like I did I tested out the video and the vlogging on it for just a couple of minutes the other day. It was like half a gig. Oh my god, can't go on like that. Right, so that's out of there. Back in Lightroom, finished image. Set that as the rating. See, crop wise, so that make a very nice. Just want a hint of that there. I want that to be about there. Quite nice. I could even highlight the water in there, just with a radial filter. You know, just something simple like that going across. Just so it's apparent that it's water. Colour it blue. Could work. It is. Does that work? I can't really see for the lights. I'm not sure if that crop works actually. Copy. Maybe it's 4x5, even though I hate 4x5. Something like that. What are you going to do? Something like that. I'd stick with PSDs, David. I've never really bothered with TIFF unless by default it's been on. Similar thing, just whatever you used to really. So yeah, PSDs usually, unless it's stupidly big. But there is a large file format. PSB, I think it is. Anyways, yeah. But anyways, need to be smaller. These damn files, because I was getting half a gig file from me D700 at times, just utterly ridiculous. No good. So yeah, at least yeah, I think we've got again a half decent image in about a quarter of an hour at the end of the stream, rather than an hour of editing one picture and it's been rubbish or uninspiring, I should say. So that one, and where's it gone? Lost it already. That one and that one was today's offerings. I think it's been alright. Got a couple more edited from Sunday. And hopefully the weekend I'll get out and shoot some more with it, and I'll be able to report back further. But yeah, keep an eye out for my initial thoughts on this beastie. I will be doing a vlog, video on it. Maybe as early as tomorrow night, and then it'll be out, maybe Sunday, maybe it's Monday. Depending when I have good time to pull it all together. I am going to be busy most of next week, so if it doesn't happen this weekend, it might be later in the week. So anyways, so thank you all again for watching. Apologies again about the first image not being that spectacular, but I really do quite like that second one that we made. So hopefully you've picked up a couple of tips there. I've even picked up the tip that I don't need to go into Analog Effects Pro for everything. I can make an image just by blending things like the same image together, well, a similar image together, and coming out with something very painterly. Quite pleased with that shot. So yeah, until next week then, I'll let you get away back to watching the news and Brexit and all that kind of stuff, or Coronation Street or whatever's on, because there's no Great British Bake Off on anymore. Not till next year, unfortunately. Sad face. So thank you for watching.
Buy my presets if you haven't. Give us a thumbs up if you've enjoyed the stream. Leave a comment if you've enjoyed it as well. If you've got any questions at all, leave a comment. And we'll see you on the next one, which will be Tuesday. God damn, that's 5 days' time. Alright, bye.